Yeah. Thanks for that call out. This part, everything before is the early bird special. Now this is being recorded. Okay. I was saying, oh yes, my pathway through Unity development. So I wanted to do game development and I knew I wanted to do it. And so I taught myself Unity development. I made a crappy little game. I released it on the app stores, and then I made a really awesome game. I started making and the first game I built was a little arcade game, kind of a ripoff of the famous arcade game Qbert, but with my own twist on it. And then I made like an educational shooter game. And you were like, you had water guns, you had water balloons, and you were like chasing people around, you were answering flashcards, and it was a really fun time. But I was working on it a lot, and like we all know, like Fortnite or Call of Duty, those games have massive teams, and I was doing all this on my own, and I kind of just realized that I would rather use these two experiences I did as a portfolio to then get a job as a game developer, which luckily I did. And then I worked at Topps Digital for a little bit, making digital trading card apps. And now I work at Nerd Ninjas, which I've just been loving it. And I love spreading the good word of game development. Um, I'm not sure if you can catch yesterday's session. I'll see if it's posted somewhere. If it would be posted somewhere, it'd probably be on the website, blackscreen.ai. But maybe it's not. I'll definitely ask around after this. But without further ado, I think this is my last slide. Yeah. Okay. The rest is all game developer stuff. Let's let's check out Unity, shall we? We've got plenty of time to dive into Unity development, and so let's meet Unity. Um, so this crazy little thing is Unity, and it's a lot to look at first, I bet. If you have no experience with Unity, that's perfect because that's what this is for. This is to get you started with everything. You'll see we have sort of a game world in front of us. We're going to be walking through a 2D platformer game, and I'm going to talk to you about little bits and pieces of Unity here and there, how the game works and everything. Um, and hopefully you'll have a couple more nuggets to sort of help you figure out if Unity development is right for you, if this is the kind of thing you want to do, and you'll have a starting point if you wanted to experiment on your own a little bit. So let's just take a look at everything we have in front of us. This is a 2D platformer demo. It's actually a Unity original demo, so you can get all of this just by downloading Unity, and Unity's free. So it gives you a lot to just like absorb. Like you can look at how the pros design their games so that when you actually do it, you do everything right. So we're just gonna dive right in. I'm gonna show you a little bit about the game, and then we'll actually dive into Unity. So you'll notice that there's a background, there's like a cute little animation on this guy, and using the WASD key, or I guess just the at A and D keys, actually, I can move left and right. With spacebar, I can jump, and when I move, the screen moves with me. And you know what's interesting? Like, just look over here to the left side. You'll see that there's like a little audio piece. Oh, I don't think I'm actually sharing my audio, so you can't hear it. But as I move, let me see if I can share my audio. Okay, let me let me share and then do. Let me advance. Yes, share. Okay, this is dumb. It doesn't really matter, but it is nice to hear the audio of the game, right? Like you can see every time you jump, it plays a little sound and it appears here. Okay, I'm actually gonna mute it because okay, I hope you guys could hear that audio and I didn't do all of that for nothing. Um, but yeah, you can see a lot of little things popping up. I can see the sound script. Uh, yeah, that's in reference to this one-shot audio thing, correct? Um, so as you move through the level, as you can see, there are these little red blob enemies. There's a little yellow coin that I can collect. I can jump on the enemies and they die. I can, yeah. So this is all of the basics that you need and or want to make your own. Why can't I not jump on this? There we go. To make your own platformer in Unity. This could be the next Mario. It's all ah, and there I go. Um, okay. So we see a little bit of what Unity is, and now maybe all of this is making a little bit more sense. Like, hey, there's our character right there, and there are the enemies, and there are the coins. This is what's known as the scene view. The scene view is all of the different components in the game. And so we can sort of click around, and so this is this enemy. So if I turn this enemy off, then when I start the game, that enemy's not going to be there anymore, right? Common sense. But like, look, boom, there's no enemy here now. Now, if I turn them back on, so you'll notice that there's this hierarchy that shows us everything in the game. So if I turn this enemy back on, boop, there he is, off, on, off, on, off, on. You get the point. Um, but yeah, so there's so much control. And again, I know that this is a lot. This is a ton. I'm gonna be just bouncing around to a bunch of different parts of Unity. Some things I find cool. We'll even look at some code. But, nowhere, don't you should not be vigorously writing notes trying to capture every detail. This is more of an overview, give you a guide, let you see what Unity is, because the actual course will walk you through building your own platformer, adding your own animations, making your own unique thing. Water is delicious. Okay, so let's take a look at this world a little bit. So you'll notice that there's just a ton of components all over the game. There's a ton of enemies, there's a ton of coins, but you might be thinking, okay, so what is an enemy? You clicked on an enemy, and there's all of this crazy nonsense, It's definitely intimidating, for sure. But let's just go through it one by one. So there's enemies, it's an enemy, and its transform is its actual position in the world. So if I go like this, I can move it left and right. I can change where the position is in the game. I can also click and drag it so that it moves around. Like if I wanted it here, then when I start the game, once Unity takes its time, I would see the enemy fall from the sky. So that's fun. Another small thing I just want to point out is that so we're in the scene mode where we can view everything, and when you hit play, you actually switch to the game mode here. And I'm sorry, I know Unity probably a lot of these screens are probably pretty small, and like unfortunately Unity doesn't do a great job of like zooming in on things, so maybe just full screen the video if it makes it easier. But I can switch from the game view to the scene view, and now I can move things around again. Like look at that, the gravity falls and everything. Um, but like this is a really awesome way to actually view the game and play through the game and set up a world that you'd like. As you can see, like, all of these coins are specifically set in various places. This enemy is moving. Let me click on him. There we go. Yeah, this enemy's moving. He's got animations and everything. Okay. Okay, this is a lot. This is a lot. Let's step back a little bit. Let's step back a little bit and ease our way back in. So that's the enemy, right? The enemy has an animator, which we don't need to dive into, but I am going to show you just what an animation controller looks like. So this is really interesting. Like, it's an enemy, it's a baddie. So it starts idle, which is the little splashing around animation, and then it might run, or it might get hurt, or it might die. And this is what's known as an animation tree. It shows so when the baddie is idle or just standing around, in order to make it run, velocity x has to be greater than zero point 0.1. So, and you can see where all the logic steps kind of come together, right? If this is moving, start running, start the run animation. And if I click here, let me see if I can find the it's not attached to a model. Let me see if I click here, can I play the animation? No. Okay, never mind. And pretend, actually, should I? Let me see if I can find the animation tab. Let me click on the enemy. Okay, yes, we can see the animations here. So for instance, this is the idle animation. If I hit play, nothing happens. The hurt anime. Oh, let me look at this guy. This guy. This guy's who we want to focus on. So let's see the idle animation. Yeah, so it just goes up and down. And it's really cool. As a Unity developer, if I'm being honest, I don't dive into animations too much, but it's everything in Unity is just a bunch of small pieces put together in a really cool way. I like to think of it as Lego, It's you get a bunch of small blocks, and when you combine them all together, they create a really beautiful piece of art almost. So like look at this. This is uh like it's also pretty self-explanatory, right? So the size of the enemy in the first frame is this size, and then in the next frame, like size X, so we go across and we see that okay, size Y, for instance, goes from 0.63 to I guess it's the same. Okay, not not a good example. Let's see. Does sprite change? Oh, yes, yes. So the actual sprite changes for each animation, and you can see it down in this. Again, I apologize for this not being the most ridiculously zoomed in. Unity is a very squinty interface, and I can only imagine how squinty it is on Zoom. But you can see the animation. Like, for instance, let's go to this frame. Look at how it's this is this image down here. And so you can kind of see how everything is put together. Um, and then it starts over. And that's just the idle animation. The death animation is that it breaks apart. Yeah. We get animation. This isn't an animation class. Sign up for something else if you're looking at that or looking for that. We want to see more of the game. So let's go back to the enemy. We've looked at the sprite renderer, we've seen the animator. Now, what the heck is a rigid body? A rigid body is sort of a bundle of physics. It's what represents the enemy. So it's how we if it weren't kinematic, if we made it dynamic, then it could use gravity. It could automatically fall down. Instead, because it's kinematic, we manually control things like that. We've got an animation controller on here. Basically, we've got a lot of really cool ways that we can interact with the enemy. I think it's time for us to dive into just a little bit of code, just a little bit. And so I'm gonna pull my code window over, and we're just gonna take a look at just a little bit of what Unity looks like. Okay, this is taking a while to load. Ah, okay, there we go. This is also quite zoomed in. Okay, so if you've never coded, don't be scared. It's again, I think it's actually easier the less you know. You'll look at it and you'll say, "Oh, this makes sense. I want this to move, so this happens." So let's go down. Do. This is a good example. So there's this thing called a mover and a path. And so what we're trying to do is there's a patrol path. And all a patrol path is a start position and an end position. So with this, if the mover has a path, then we move X. And the X value is the left and right value. So all we're saying is move the position left and right between the start of the path and the end of the path. And that's it. That's it. If we go back to the game, we can see this little guy with its path just going left and right. Let me go back to the scene. Yeah, we see him just going left and right. And you know how I know he's just gonna go left and right? Well, there's this little guy, this little path guy right here. And the path says start at negative 1.3, which is right there, and end at 4.0. Don't believe me? Well, let's click on the enemy. And you can, oh wait, this isn't the enemy. Where is the enemy? Let me click on him. Ah. Okay, let's find him. This one. Yeah. Look, he's going 3 units before and 1 unit past where he started. And that's all he's doing. He's just going back and forth over and over again. Also, again, feel free to ask questions if I'm going too quickly, if I'm going too slowly, if there's anything you want me to dive into more. This is kind of just going to be a me jumping around Unity a bunch to get you some familiarity with it. It's what you're not going to do is walk out of here and say, okay, I'm going to go build a game now. What you might say is, okay, I'm going to go download this project, and now I have a bit more of an understanding of how things work. Where can you watch the recording? I believe it'll be on the website. I apologize. I need to talk to the site admin about that and see, but you can likely check the website for things like that. It is blackscreen.ai. Let me, yeah, let's go. Blackscreen.ai. Yes. Let's see. Free classes. Hey, that's us. I wonder if it would be posted. Yeah. Apologies. I'll have to ask about it. But this is being recorded. Oh, wait, that's me. Yeah, this is being recorded, and I believe they'll be posted here. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, that's where they would be if they were posted. Let me go to the back to the game, which is still running. And so we've talked about enemies a bunch. We've looked at the enemy controller a little bit. It seems pretty straightforward, right? Like you can jump on an enemy to kill it. You can collect these coins. You can oop, yeah, you can move throughout the level. A lot of really cool things. Okay, well, I definitely jumped over that. Oh, thank you for that. Is that a link to the recording? Perfect. Yes. Okay. Let's learn more. Let's check out a different part of Unity. So, what's all this other junk going on over here? We've looked at the enemies. Now let's look at the player. And you'll notice the player has a little blue box around it. That's what's known as a prefab. You'll notice that enemies have it as well. So a prefab is if you've ever done like construction or something, it's just short for prefabricated. And it means that I want everything to look like this. So I want every enemy to have the exact same components on them. And so if I actually select it, all an enemy is just a piece of the project down here. And all a player is just a piece of the project down here. So I could even drag another player in. Huh. I do wonder what would happen if I tried to play with players. I think it might break. I would assume that it would break, but huh. Would you look at that? It does not break. But I wonder what would happen if like one of them died. Ah! Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Things get things get wonky. Yeah, but that just goes to show you how cool having isolated systems are in Unity. I could drag in like 15 players and the game would just work. And that's really awesome. Like, I can drag in a bunch of enemies. And when you're building a game, you're like, okay, well, I want this enemy here, and I want this enemy there, and I want the player here. And then there's just a lot of cool flexibility that you can do when building games. Sorry, I find this really awesome that I can have just a bunch of players. Oh no, I think one of them died, and if one of them dies, we all die. Oh, this is weird. This is weird. You know what? If someone wants to make that game, why do the enemies fall instead of playing the death animation? Well, let's dive into that. Let's look at an enemy. Let's look at its animator. And so, to play the death animation, an enemy needs to die. Very simple. But what does death mean? Death is a trigger in the enemy itself. So let's go to the animation controller. Do. And I'm just gonna zoom out a little bit. Let's see. Where Huh. I'm not seeing death. Well, that would explain why there's no death animation. Hmm. So what? Yeah, this is actually interesting because we can dig into Unity Live. So my first question would be, so it seems like the animation controller, and again, this is just a Unity tutorial. It seems like the animation controller is never actually telling it to die. Um, I don't think we're ever seeing the hurt animation either. Are we seeing the run anime or the run? Yeah. Okay. So let's dig into a few more scripts and see. Let's keep that why do enemies fall instead of playing the death animation in the back of our mind. And let's see a few more scripts and see if we might find out. I think the answer might be in player or game controller. But let's check it out. So also another really great thing about code, you should always leave comments for everything. These green things are comments, and they kind of just make it human readable. They tell all of us what's going on. They make it so that if someone looks at your game years down the road, they'll just have that knowledge captured, as opposed to having to read through all the code and try and figure out what's going on. Okay, so we've got a game controller, and we okay. Actually, this is not going to be useful. Let's dig into the player controller, maybe. And so this makes sense. We see jump audio, we see respawn audio. Those are the clips that play every time the player jumps. Let's see if there's something for when the player collides with an enemy. Update jump state. Oh, so it looks like here, and this is, again, one thing I love about code is that it's kind of human readable, you know? You can see that it's like, okay, so if we're jumping, tell everyone that we're jumping. If we're jumping, if we're not grounded, the exclamation point means not. So if we're not grounded, then we're in flight. And if we're in flight and then we're grounded, we've landed. Say that 5 times fast. Uh, so we've got a jump state. And so I bet we tried to figure out what happens when the player collides. And when said player collides, let's see, so we set the collider, we set the bounds, we have control enabled. And so this is actually what controls the movement of the player. So if control is enabled, this is actually a huge part of the code. Input.getAxis just means, is the player moving along the x-axis? So that's like, if I have a controller, is the stick moving left or is the stick moving right? Jump is the input.getJump button, which is spacebar, being played. And so all this is happening if these things occur. And then the player stop jump event is fired when the player jumps. It's pretty, this happens, so this happens, then this happens, then this happens. The enemy controller, uh player enemy collision. Here we go. This is what we wanted to find. So this is what happens when a player collides with an enemy. So, huh, would you look at that? And it's so interesting diving into a video game's code because you learn, like when you play a game, you're kind of just like, oh, okay, so if I hit this, this will happen. But what does jumping on an enemy mean? Well, if the center of your player character, so this point right here, right? Like the center of the player. If the center of the player is above the enemy, then it hurts the enemy. If it doesn't, I assume it hurts the player. It hurts the player dies. And so isn't that cool? Like just like with that little bit of logic, if I wanted to cheat, I could say like, oh, if I could just say will hurt enemy equals true. And then this makes me invincible. Um, the code isn't gonna like that because I shouldn't be coding that way. Because if you say if true, it's always going to be true, right? And compilers hate this one trick. So now if I delete all these extra players, goodbye, my friends, and I play the game, I should just be invincible. Why is this so zoomed in? Why did I zoom this in? There we go. Boom. And I just jump over everything. And so this is actually a really interesting point. Like you could add a power up to the game that when you collect it, every time you run into an enemy, you automatically kill it and whatnot, you know? Like whenever an enemy runs into you, like this is how an invincibility power up works. It just overrides the code here. I'm gonna backspace because I want the enemies to be able to um hurt me. But let's look at that enemy death. I actually have no idea what's going on with this enemy death. So let's see. On enemy death, we execute, we turn off the controllers, we play the sound, we execute the death event. Okay, actually, sorry. This is going, oh, you can't hear me. Susan can't hear me. Can everyone hear me? I haven't been to okay, okay. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, I was terrified for a second that I'd been talking to myself for all of this time. Thank you. Very reassuring. Susan, maybe try turning up your volume, maybe exit the session and come back in. Um, yeah. Actually, Susan left. Aw. Actually, diving into this code, it's a bit more complex than maybe we should dive into right now. But there is the animation controller, and it's not the death dives. Sorry, I'm not gonna. We don't need to get too deep into it. Basically, there you can fire events, and events can trigger other things, and there's a whole deep-rooted web that is weaved each time a death event happens. Um, let's look at some other parts of the game. Uh, let me head over to I changed some code. Every time you change code, the game will recompile because it's auto-saving constantly to try and update to the most recent thing. So let's take a huge step back. What are we looking at here? This in Unity is known as a scene. And so everything starts here with this scene, and it's just a sample scene, you know? We got this fun background. We've got I'm in game mode. Yeah, there we go. We got this fun background. We've got all these enemies. We got this little guy hiding down here. Does not look happy. Um, Mr. Alien. Um, we've got a lot going on here. We've got this environment, and you'll notice that the level is a tile map with a bunch of pieces. And so you can kind of just like edit. There's just a bunch of little things edited. There's foreground, background. There's basically this is just a bunch of images overlaid on one another. And you can tell because let me see, does it have the Z? No, it doesn't. Z1. Yeah. So look at the Z component here. It's anchored to 0, while the Z component on this one is anchored to 1. So that means that it's 1 unit ahead of the other one. So that's why we get this cool effect when we actually play the game, where the foreground moves faster than the background, right? Do you notice that the background moves a little slower because our camera is locked into here? Speaking of the camera, let's go into the scene view and uh, let's check out our camera here. So our camera is what controls our view of the game. So for instance, if I could change the camera to a perspective camera, and then I could change the field of view. It doesn't want me to change it at runtime. Okay, it doesn't like it when I change these. I can't change the position. Okay, yes. I can change the oh, I see. It's resetting. Yeah, so there's another I apologize. I apologize. There's a script running on the camera that is constantly setting where its position, and I bet that that's tied to our horizontal and vertical movement so that the camera smoothly moves as we move from left to right. And because it's doing that every frame, if I try and change something, like if I change this to 0, it'll quickly snap back to 1 point, blah, blah, blah. It quickly snaps back because it wants to be reset to 0. Um, I should not be breaking the camera right now. Um, let's see. What else? What's another cool part of Unity that I can dive into without getting too crazy? We've got the spawn point, we've got the player. Yeah, and also another thing, you can see maybe I should enable sound now. I think the sounds will get a little annoying. I'm just gonna do a little. Yeah, so you'll notice that okay, I'm gonna turn off these sounds. You'll notice that when we look at the actual player, if I jump, this switches to in flight. Um, and when it switches back when I try to change it because it recognizes that we're grounded. And so this is just the representation in code, um, the jump state. So earlier when we were looking here and we saw that, oh, okay, if the player moves left or right, then jump state can be, sorry, not prepared to jump. That's not where we were looking here. That the jump state switches between jumping or in flight. We can see that in practice here, where when we jump, it's in flight. See, told you. And then if we sprint and jump, we get in flight as well. Now, I wonder about these little coin thingies, Every time we collect one, what's that do? What if we wanted to do something cool? Oh, actually, should we be crazy for a second? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Let me find a coin. Okay. So we've got a token instance. It plays an audio. It's got a random animation that plays. It has a controller. Let's dive. What does the alien do? You know, I'm not actually sure what the alien does. I think it's just a fun little guy. But you know what gets me? When we clicked on this, we see that there's a little sorry. Mm, alien's trying to get me. Do you see what I see? Because I see that the level that only actually the front part of this is a part of this level. There's a gap right here And there's a gap right here. Let me see. Is that a part of the background or the foreground? Yeah, actually, these are just hidden pieces on the foreground, which means that our player can move through them. Oh, there's a lot of hidden pieces in this level. Oh, that's cool. So I wonder what happens if we try to go through the hidden spot. Let's see. Jump. Okay. Oh, there we go. And we made it. Wow. Hidden little guy. What's he gonna do? Okay, well, nothing happens. Okay, it's a poorly designed Easter egg because there's no way to take us back to the the spawn point, which is unfortunate. But okay, I guess the only option is death. Which I guess does take you back to the spawn point. That's fair. Okay, let me go back to investigating these tokens because I want to do something cool with them. But let's take a look at how token collection works. If to so every time a token is collected, it's set to be inactive. So that just turns it off, right? What if Let's see if we can try and find. So I'm just doing a little bit of code jumping around. So I double click this and I want to see where the collected variable comes from. And it's an internal Boolean. And don't worry if you don't know what these terms mean. I'm kind of just saying them as I bounce around. I want to see if when the player enters and we have a reference to the player controller. Okay, okay. This is gonna be fun. Okay, and was the player controller the one that... Okay, we're going to make the player's speed double every time they collect a a token. And let's see if this works. So we're going to take this if statement, and I apologize. This wasn't in the script, but I think it'd be fun. Actually, player controller. Oh, no, not player controller. We want the reference to the actual player. And so we're going to go player dot. What was the speed? Yeah, let's see, max speed plus equals 1. Okay, so all this does is every time that we collect a token, the player's speed, the player's max speed increases by 1. Let's just see what happens. I'm not actually sure that this will be noticeable, but let's see. You tell me. Okay. Hope this works. And if it doesn't work, we'll have to make it more extreme. Okay, does he seem faster? I don't know. Maybe it's all in my head. Let's see. Oh, oh, look at that. Look at that. The player's definitely moving a lot faster. Okay, let's collect more coins. Oh my God, this is actually impossible to control now with this much speed. Okay. I don't want to make his jump. Oh my gosh. Okay, okay, wait, this is getting too fun. This is too fun. Okay, but I do want, let's see. Let's make the player. I hope there's a max jump. Is there a jump? Oh, jump takeoff speed plus equals 1 as well. Okay, so this is dumb. Uh, but it should be fun. This is what game development's all about. It's just about finding the fun in games, and it's cool. One thing I find really cool is just that, like, this is just a demo in Unity that I messed around with a little bit, and because I know my way around Unity, I can just mess around with it and say, okay, now I'm going to do this to the game. And then crazy things happen. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's a good jump. That's a good jump. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now we got a game. Oh, and of course I died. Okay. Oh, and the jump speed stays. Okay, well that's something that I would maybe adjust. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about anything I've been diving into? I'm kind of I sort of reached a a lot of I've shown a lot of what I'm intended to show in this presentation. If there's any other uh bits or pieces that you guys want me to dive into particularly, I can show you. But if there aren't, then I can continue to do funky stuff in the world and and have fun with it. Okay, so we made coins do crazy stuff. I would like to do something with this alien, to make this alien not useless. But I don't think there's a quick and dirty way that I could. Let's look at the player. Let's see what the player has. So the player has all of these fields that we can mess around with. We have health, troll dialogue. Yeah, we could add some dialogue down there when the player enters the space, but make it say stuff. Okay. The problem is that there's a lot of pieces to that. Unfortunately, the annoying thing is that there's okay, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. You got to give the people what they want. Okay, let's see. Let's see. We'll add an image. Very simple. Where's my image? Oh, that's not good. Where's the alien? Oh, I see. Okay. Well, let's take this image and let's take the canvas. Oh, no screen sharing. Let's put it on the camera. Render on this camera. Let's see. Image. Do. It's not large enough. Okay, let's see if we have a chat bubble. If they have a chat bubble icon or something that we could throw onto this. Oh man, there's a lot of funky things in this project. Oh, they've got all these different colors. We've got animations. Hmm. I'm not seeing what I want, and I keep glancing at the clock. Like, okay, okay. Well, we could add a billboard. That's what we could do. We could add a billboard to the alien. Okay, like we could add a little billboard guy, right? We could drag it in here, nest it under the alien. Sorry, I'm I'm I've entered a crazy mode where okay, let's set this back one. Okay, so I got a cute little billboard. There we go. Set it up. So the background to the billboard. Set it. Oh, geez, this is far too large for my billboard. This looks terrible, actually. Let's see. Let's lower the scale. One, two, 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 two. And again, this is quick and dirty. This is not. This is I do not recommend. Oh, you know why? This is because I grabbed the wrong billboard image. This is this should be a different one. Oh, whatever. Yeah, let's switch to the other one. Okay, we're running out of time. We're running out of time. Why'd you guys make me do this? Okay. We'll go here. We'll stretch it out a bit. Well, no, it's fine. It's fine. I think honestly, Unity is all about just playing around with things and messing around and seeing cool things. And I've already reached my quota of showing you guys cool things. And let's see, let's add a text component. It might be a little wonky because it's got to be UI. Let's see. It's the positioning is going to get weird. Yeah, I think hold on, let me Yeah, UI positioning is so weird. Because this is a 2D game and the whole game takes place here. Getting the position right and everything. Like I could move this over and down. Okay, okay, wait. Sorry. This is bad. This is bad. This is not the ideal way to do things. I Okay, let's see. This width is far too large. Okay. Uh, I do not want to spend the next 5 minutes you guys just watching me add text to a billboard. But the reason why things are a little bit wonky is because the overall scale of this world is so small that the default UI scale is so much scaled up. Um, but yeah, we dove through a little bit of Unity. We did some crazy stuff. We discovered a cute little alien. I'm just gonna really quickly go through the rest of these slides. I should not have gotten too deep into that, but it's fun. Sometimes in Unity you're just messing around and then you keep going and going. Um, so who can become a Unity developer? Anyone can. I think honestly, let's take a step back. Let's think about the course as a whole, and the whole goal is to just empower you guys really to be able to do all of that fun stuff where you know exactly like you could tell. One thing I skipped over a lot of the intermediate steps, a lot of the oh wait, if this, then this, because I wanted you to see that when you're a developer, you kind of just know, okay, so there's probably this thing in the project. There's probably this thing. I wonder, so the coin probably will talk to the player. Oh, found it. So let me just use these things from the player. And yeah, anyone can become a game developer. There's no prior coding experience necessary, even though you saw me doing a lot of coding. But honestly, the course is going to start from square one, where coding experience is useful, but not necessary at all. Uh, Unity engineers, this is kind of the middle of your career. Unity developers will make it's a decently compensated position. I think entry level is definitely a little lower than this, but Unity developers are a great, well compensated position in the US right now. Uh, the course is going to be take you from zero to professional or to hobbyist in 16 weeks. Sorry, I'm flying through these slides because I did not budget my time properly. Yeah, so in this course, you're going to make 2 games for your portfolio. You'll get a lot of interview prep. And honestly, that's kind of these slides, I feel like I've said everything. You get it. You kind of know if you think that this is the type of course you want to take. There's just a ton of I love Unity. I love Unity development. I think it's going to be a very fun course. We're going to do a lot of cool things. And I think making video games is so fun. It's one of the true joys in life. And you're going to build a ton of skills, and there will be some career coaching, interview prep, all that stuff. And here we are, our special offer. So because you all stayed for this video presentation, if you sign up now, you'll get a discount. It's about a quarter off, which is pretty sizable discount. I wouldn't complain about a quarter off. But wait, there's more. No, sorry, this is the more. But yeah, so there's this QR code that you can click on to reach the course. If there's any questions, I'll take any last minute questions. But if not, thank you all. You've been a wonderful audience. I hope you enjoyed my little musings in Unity, and I hope you learned something today. Okay, I'm gonna give it 10 seconds, and if there are no further questions, then excuse me, I think we'll call it. Thank you guys for sticking around, and I hope you have excuse me, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Take care, everyone.